The Ouachita Parish School Board is looking into the delayed process of Sterlington Middle School. Kenya Ross joins us live with the details. Kenya?
Well, Shauna, the school board said they're behind on the completion date on the new Sterlington Middle School.
At the current time, the project, as of today, is 223 days incomplete.
The Ouachita Parish School Board held its school board meeting Tuesday at noon. According to the agenda, the board members were scheduled to discuss if they were going to take contractual action against the current contractor, Don M. Barron Contractor Incorporated. Board minutes from January 2022 stated they expected the school to be done last year, but crews are still working on it. The representative with the contractor said the slow progress was due to issues with the steel erector on the project that caused the delay for 7 months. And in the middle of that, they were looking for other steel workers.
We sent him multiple emails. We ended up sending him certified letters. We couldn't get anyone else at the time, pandemic, coming out of COVID, that could get on the project.
A couple of the school board members questioned the presence of contractors on site working consistently, but the representative with the contractor said he went out there Tuesday and there were 50 to 60 people on site.
We feel confident that we can be substantially complete at the end of July or the end of June of this year. And like we said in the meeting last week, and get the school board in to the school.
And the board declared today the general contractor to be in default of the contract. They authorized the superintendent to issue any notices to the contractor. The estimated cost of the total construction is a little over $30 million.